Wonderful viewers, welcome back to another episode of the Political Hour Show here on Eco TV International, the People's Choice, where we invite politicians, youths, and women to discuss about the issues in our country here. And today, our honorable guest is Mr. Mamadi Kurang. We will talk to him shortly, but before that, you can kindly follow us on Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube. For more of these videos, try and subscribe to our channels, and sponsors are also invited. You can call on the numbers on the screen to sponsor this program. I am your host, Rohi Tuture. Assalamu alaikum, Mr. Kurang.
Assalamu alaikum, Rohi. Thank you for inviting me here, and I'm grateful to give my opinion. My first time here, but it looks like it's going to be interesting.
Inshallah.
Yes.
All right, thank you very much.
Welcome.
Thank you very much for honoring this invitation. Well, the things we are going to be talking about is about trending issues right now that are happening in our country, and it is known to everyone. But first of all, we would like to talk about the question that is in everyone's mind, which is, are you moving to United Democratic Party? Can you tell us the reason behind that?
The reason behind me moving to the UDP, I think it's simple. I mean, I think when you join politics, it's more about what can I do for my country.
Exactly.
So it's not about Mamadi, or it's not about, I mean, the political party. I think the first priority is about the country. And when it comes to the country, as a politician, when you make a decision and you put the country first, it's very easy for you. If I put my personal interest first, or somebody's personal interest first, or my love for the party leader or whatever first, I mean, my decision may not be the best for the good of the country. But you know, in a case like this, I mean, I'm already in politics, and I stood as an independent candidate. I joined the PDOIS. I campaigned for the PDOIS presidential wholeheartedly. I attended every meeting. I participated almost in every meeting in the presidential tour. When I do something, I do it with my heart, and I do 100%. I don't do half and half. So I did that, and then obviously I contested also as a parliamentary candidate for the PDOIS. And you know, at the end of all that, for the past, that was 2021, 2022, we're talking about. Coming towards 2026, I have to evaluate myself and evaluate the political situation in the country, and evaluate what can I do, can I make a difference, right? And what does this country need, rather than what Mamadi needs. You know, yeah, obviously what Mamadi needs is important, what my party does is important, but what the Gambia needs is the most important thing. And if that is going to be the most important thing for me, then whatever decision I'm making, I have to evaluate it. Obviously, I enjoyed my time in PDOIS, and I do not have any personal problems with anybody in PDOIS, but it came to a point I have to ask myself and evaluate, what does my country need going towards 2026? And I came to the conclusion, you know, that this is not about me, it's not about my party, it's about my country. And what my country needs now in 2026 is to bring a change for different reasons. First of all, I feel that this country does not need to encourage self-entrenchment. The two-term is a priority for the country. in order to protect our democracy, in order to protect the future of our children. No president needs to stay in this country for more than 2 terms, just like all the civilized countries in the world. So that's one point. Secondly, I'm an economist, and I feel my evaluation of the economy is very terrible, right? I feel that the standard of living is going down. I feel the Gambia is going into an economic hole. Now, I have to then ask myself a second question: how can we remove the nyimbe bondila nyadile? Then, I have to say, well, I'm in the PDOIS. I have not seen much activity in the PDOIS between 2021 and 2025 to convince me that it is a party that was ready to remove and change power.
So that was also one of the reasons you moved into UDP. So
in line with what I have explained and what I wish for my country, to be realistic, I felt that the UDP, stands the best chance to remove Barrow from power. I mean, people put it in different ways. Nobody can do it alone. Yeah. Even Barrow cannot keep himself in power alone. He needs other parties or other people to keep in power. And my coming to the UDP is part of that process. They can't do it alone. We must join them, right? Not because we love UDP or we hate Lawyer Dabo or whatever, but the love for the country must override every other emotional feeling that we have. I believe the UDP is positioned, right, to be able to remove Barrow from power. I think they have the pedigree, they have the activity, they have the energy, right, to do that. So why did I join UDP? I joined UDP because I think Gambia wants me to join UDP. Gambia needs me to join UDP. Gambia needs us to put our hands together and change this government in 2026. My desire to bring that change for my country is the main reason why I decided to join UDP.
Growing stronger by the day.
Yeah.
Okay, and now since you've joined UDP, do you feel fulfilled?
Oh yes, I feel fulfilled. I mean, that's a good question. Yeah, I think you are. That's a very insightful interview question. I mean, do I feel fulfilled? Yeah, I feel fulfilled. Why? Because I mean, Mamadi, if you look at my life trajectory, right, I'm always the doing person, right? When I see a problem, I like to do something about it. What pains me is not I have failed or succeeded. What pains me is I see something happening and I become powerless, or I decided mentally to make myself powerless. I can't do nothing about it, or I don't even attempt. Right? That's my life. So I action when I feel something is needed. So when I feel that the country needs me in politics, I went into politics. Before that, I feel like the Gambia needs me in education. I didn't wait anybody to set me up or give me tools or give me equipment and say, go and teach children. No. 25 years ago, I went and sat under a mango tree. And I called students, and they came in their thousands. Nobody pushed me to do that. In fact, there are so many things that discourage you when you do something like that in Gambia. Some people think you are crazy until they see that you are actually not crazy, that the problem is with them. So when I sat under a mango tree to try and call people in Kanifing to come and do the ACCA, that they said, abe doku wala bankile ayo bula amanta doku do nyinin ala londo be nyamen akata si yiro ko akaka molle karande. Some people even come and tell me, give this thing to Nigerians, store it. I said no. The school is not a business. I feel I have something that I can deliver to my community. And then I sat there with very qualified at that moment. I have an ACCA, I have a degree in economics, I can work in any bank, I can leave the country and go work somewhere. Some of my friends left who faced that kind of frustration in the system. But I said, no, if the system don't allow me maybe to do what I do, I go and sit somewhere and do what I want, what I have a vision. So I had that vision for Jollof Tutors. 25 years later, more than 20,000 people benefited from my craziness.
Wonderful.
So, I mean, I like to be crazy if that is what is the meaning of craziness, and to think different.
You know, it is said that the best among us is the one who learns and teaches others.
Exactly. So my religion tells me. And then the religion also tells you, if you see something, right, remove it with your hand if you can. If you cannot, remove it with your mouth or with your mouth. If you cannot do that, if you can't speak against it and you can't take action against it, then have kochisa biri holbe, right? Hate it inside your heart.
Yeah.
And that is the weakest form of faith. So when I said I am an action person, right, that inspiration obviously comes from our religion, which says that anything you see wrong around you, do something about it. If you can't do it, talk about it. If you can't talk, hate it in your heart, and that's a weak form. So I like to act. When I see education in the Gambia was going in the doldrums, people were leaving saying Jange Jollof Easywood, I came with Jollof tutors. In politics, after I've been in Jollof tutors for 2 decades, yeah, you get bored, I get bored. When I taught for 10 years, I get bored, I left, I went to Liberia, Sierra Leone, because I wanted more action. And then obviously, that gave me a lot of action. God opened so many things for me that I didn't see when I sat here for 10 years. Jollof continued, but I left after 10 years, that around 2009, 2010. Up to 2019, I was more or less away from the country, right? And God told me, if you hadn't left, there are certain things that would not have happened in my life. So I appreciate it. And I believe that as a Muslim, I believe in qadr. So I believe that most of the actions I do is inspired spiritually. You understand? No man can do anything without the power of God. That is why we say, La hawla wa la quwwata illa billah. So, and I believe in that, not only by word of mouth, but by destiny. So my destiny, after 20 years in teaching, I feel has to be political. But that destiny, I cannot sell it to any political ideology. I sell it to my country. I owe it to my country. So therefore, do I feel fulfilled? I feel very fulfilled, because fulfillment for me is when I know I'm doing something and I know that I'm doing it and God is happy about it, because Allah and the prophets are happy about it because it's benefiting somebody, like teaching people. I'm fulfilled because God knows that that's recommended in my Islam. I'm doing politics. Politics is religion, obviously, because I'm into something not to cheat anybody, but to add something to my country, to bring change to my country. So when I'm doing that, no matter how the hardship, imagine when I was used to be in the classroom, and then I think of just teaching people. It's not bringing you a lot of money, but when I enter the classroom, all that frustration go out of my mind, and come and see me in the classroom, right? Oh, I am a Kurang plus, a Paso plus, a Nyankir in the classroom, and people love it, and it changed people's lives. So when I'm into politics, Mamadi don't do anything which is not, my heart is not there. So when I come into the UDP, right, I saw activity, I saw action, and I'm happy to be part of that. So, and I know that whatever I'm doing it for good intention, for my country. So I feel that God is happy with me. So I am fulfilled. What more can I ask for?
Yeah. Well, thank you very much for that wonderful deliberation. Yeah. And also about your activeness. We've seen that during the tour, you were there full time with the crew. And anywhere we go, you deliver there well. So during that time, what was your observation
about the
tour and the people, meet the people tour that we did, the United Democratic Party did in December?
Yeah, it was a high, an eye opener for me, because the eye opener in the sense that it was my first time. I mean, joining UDP, particularly on a tour. Yeah. And sorry, I took a lot of dust in the past few days. But what I saw was that even though I wasn't with the UDP for many years before, I've observed the political scene from a distance, right? And I know what UDP is up to. Of course, I voted for UDP before 2016. But this tour, actually, I know that as an opposition, there's a lot of ground to cover. I feel that this tour, has built UDP a momentum because politics is not just about where you are, but where you are heading to. So there is a momentum in the tour. The UDP, the tour, was very successful in some of the areas which are not traditional UDP strongholds, right? We went to Balangar, Fonyis, in Nyamina, in Mahmoud Fana, you were there. And they were very successful responses. So what that made me feel is that Gambians are looking for an alternative. And they're looking at UDP as a possible alternative to the existing system. So that gives me more motivation to go ahead and put more energy into it. I also understood how the party structure works. So I'm very happy to have been in it. It will happen just a few days after I declared my, my intention to join the party. I could have stayed home, but I had to push myself because I know you learn in the field, right? That's what I believe. And I say I believe in action. I believe in learning in the field. So already, obviously, I've been an independent candidate. I run my own campaign. I finance my own campaign. I organize it with my team. But this is a different organization, so I have to learn. And the tour was to be in a close contact with party members, party executives, party leadership, gave me a lot of insights into the party, which I think I can use to contribute to the well-being of the party.
Thank you very much. Now we can move on to the economic of the Gambia right now. The situation is really bad, definitely. It is really bad. So what is your opinion about our economic crisis right now? Where do you think the problem is?
The problem is big, it's huge, and it's wide, right? It's big because we have serious problems. One of the serious problems we have is a mounting debt crisis, in the sense that the government is borrowing and borrowing and borrowing. Adama borrowed almost $1 billion in 9 years, right? Which is the same as Jawara and Yaya Jammeh combined together, right? In 50 years. That's alarming. What did he do with those monies? Jawara borrowed and built GPMB, built MTC, built, what do you call it, the Gambia Produce Marketing Board, which is the GPMB, obviously, built the Ports Authority, built GAMTEL, built GAMCEL, all those things. Yaya Jammeh came, he built so many things. And then, obviously, Jawara built roads and bridges for 400 kilometers from Banjul to Basse. And then Pasamas, Yaya Jammeh built from SAO to Pasamas, another almost 400 kilometers. And then he rebuilt what Jawara did. Adama Barrow just built some short roads from one town, one village to another. And he cannot account for me. Barrow government cannot account for the $1 billion at the moment. So that's a problem. When you have mounting debt, it puts pressure on your economy. It puts pressure on your currency. But the other thing which is putting pressure on the currency, inflation, which is another big problem, apart from debt, inflation, and unemployment. The problem of inflation is that the government, which is refusing to control arbitrary expenditure, subjective expenditure, discretionary expenditure. Expenditure may along ko ika kele because a diate ne bara amanke unnecessary. When that happens, when government is not controllable in terms of expenditure, you tend to borrow more. And then, because you only have dollars and you are spending it freely, the value of the dollars goes down. And that's why we see, since Barrow sat down, the dollars has gone down from 40-something to now almost to the dollar, about 80, like lost half of its value.
Euro is 86 right now.
Exactly. That's like a 100% decrease in the value of the currency. And that, when you see what they spend, you look at the cars they drive, you look at the fuel for those cars. Barrow man care about spending in this economy. He is boasting about projects which are financed by ECOWAS, World Bank, and African Development Bank. So the problem of the economy is not only debts, it's not only inflation, it's also unemployment that comes out of it, mismanagement, and then obviously the biggest disease of all, Barrow is not able to control corruption. How many, Barrow became minister by, he doesn't even dismiss anybody, apart from political problems. He doesn't. So, no consequences for anything.
Yeah, and his government is described as one of the most corrupt government that the Gambia has ever had.
One of the most corrupt governments in the world, I can say. Because, I mean, I used to give people a simple example. I tell them, go, yeah, Jammeh time, aboloko ni mobe ninso busukang. Mokili ba busukang na kuntu ayafais ayin kude. Adama Barrow time, mobe ba busukang. Every minister is a president because he takes presidential consequential decision. Ministers can sit there and allocate land. Not even ministers, state land, which sometimes should have even gone to parliament, from cabinet to parliament. Ministers, few ministers, 1 or 2 ministers can sit and disburse. Land, which you know belongs to the country for thousands of generations to come. One man just sit in his office and then draw a piece of paper and then just try to cut land and give it to somebody. Every minister in Barrow's government is a president. That's a disaster. That's why Barrow is not in control. Barrow doesn't control anything. I mean, he's just pretending to be in control, right? So? Because everybody is sucking up to him so that they can loot under him. That's why I investigated Yahya Jammeh. I know the due process he does. I know that Yahya Jammeh reads his files because I saw the files. I saw his handwriting in the files, and I see what he writes. And I see how he prods government officials. Does Barrow reads his files when he goes and signs contracts to give away the port at a chicken chain and come back 3 years later and realize, or a few months later and realize that it's a bad deal? Does Barrow reads his contract when he's selling every national asset that Jawara built? When he's selling everything that Yahya Jammeh maintained, every piece of land that Yahya Jammeh maintained, Barrow is selling it. Does Barrow read his files? Does he read the files of Jammeh and Jawara to know what happened and the mistakes that they made? If you don't even read your own files, how will you read the files of the ex-president? The files are still there in his office. The files from 1965, they are still in Barrow's office. But if you don't read the files of 2025, how will you read the files of 1965? So he is not learning from mistakes. So they are controlling him like a robot. The most robot president in the world right now. He's a robot. I mean, they're moving things. If you're not reading your notes, and then you are signing contracts and then coming back telling people it's a mistake. The sea now is signed off to foreign fishermen. The Gambian river or water, the Gambian waters is signed up.
Yeah.
The Gambian port is signed up to foreign investors. The airport is at ransom. They have hijacked the airport. Simply for what? Nobody knows where the money they are collecting and driving away the tourists is going. They are killing the tourist industry. And I think they want to kill the tourist industry because they want to sell all the tourist land. They have already, we see the TDA, how they shared it among themselves. So where is Barrow taking this country? Nobody knows. I personally don't know where Barrow wants to take the Gambia.
Yeah. And regarding the corruptness of the government, TRRC previously, they recommended that there are certain people that should not work in government. Yeah. And the assets of the former president, Yahya Jammeh, were being sold. And some of the list came out, but the prices on it are disturbing. So what is your opinion about that? Yeah, I mean, because since I left the Jammeh Commission in 2018, I worked there for 1 year, and when I left, I've been pounding and bouncing I've been fighting with the whole country. Right now, I'm not fighting with the whole country, right? Maybe I'm still fighting with few, but now, why? Because everybody realized what I've been saying for 7 years has an element of truth, right? That the Jammeh Commission did not go the way it should go. And the National Assembly inquiry shows you that all the processes were flawed, right? When I was removed, I wasn't even replaced. The law says, the Constitution says, the secretary must be sworn in by the president. Okay. I left, and no secretary. How can you run a commission? Nobody was sworn in. How could you run a commission without a legal secretary? I mean, what are you up to? And we saw that even the lands they sold, those lands did not go through the process, proper channel. They should have taken the lands to the court for the court to free them of encumbrances. But the lands are still encumbered. Why? There are still obligations because you didn't go through the law. You ride from one ministry to another ministry to sell the land. I'm not even talking about the vehicles and the cattle. Everybody had the story. I don't need to repeat it. But I've been repeating it for many years. And that's the Jammeh Commission. I mean, it's a big disappointment, but I hope that, I don't think the country can get back the cattle or the vehicles that are gone and sold for one-third prices. But I hope that for the next 100 years, we will be trying to get our lands back. The Gambians who watch this interview 50 years later must go back for their lands. Because land never goes.
We need this land for thousands of years to come. God knows when the world will end. They can't just take it like that. In South Africa, when the white people came and took the land and ruled it for 500 years, today they are asking for it after 500 years. Land never goes away. And even the people who take the land, they know that. When you have a lackadaisical government, you can take land as you want. But you cannot believe that lackadaisical governments will continue to rule the people forever. No, the people will rise up.
Okay. And now, regarding the most talked about in the country right now, which is the 50 million that the president gave the NPP women. What can you tell us about it? What is your take on that?
It's a scam, and it's shameful because who voted in the president? Was it voted in by NPP or voted in by the country? He swore to the Quran. He will deliver his mandate without fear, without favor. Underline the word favor. Without fear or favor or ill will. This is both favor and ill will. A president who swears to the Quran. That's why I say Barrow is joking. Barrow is joking with the Quran. You are a president. You get power to renegotiate money. And then you come and negotiate that money. You said, it's my political party. And you know that if it's your party alone, they can never get that. It's because of the government. You are in the government. So you should open this opportunity to all the women there. And then politicizing it, you don't politicize finance. Finance cannot be politicized because the rules are the same. Take the money, there is a time period to pay. And then even before I give you the money, I have to evaluate you, not according to your political party, but I evaluate you according to the venture you are doing. So the women groups, they are not even being invited based on what they're doing, they're being invited based on political affiliation. Some of them, I heard that they can avoid NPP membership, I don't know, 150. Oh, that's why I said it's a scam. Why must you connect party membership to women empowerment economically? That's a scam. That's wrong. That's immoral. That's illegal because he didn't swear to the Quran, Barrow, to do that. And I saw himself on TV breaking his oath of no fear, no favor, no ill will. That's favor. You swear to the Quran. You brought in a national project that you discriminate people. That's favoring people. What you fear man, yalon fear musifa jamalti doli amira fear wolom nyinti ko ni kidolo tonta I don't fear. Ika gambian olje nte hani kele bero yan hani muro ni anati yalon kunto hani kido yalon kunko busi je wai. That's not the fear we are talking about. The fear of poverty, the fear of losing your position. Wala mu le kayati do bije obe boba fala ni kidolo kunto ni kay ko mbela do ko tale bu la kedele tuk. Nika ko economic power will all be they threaten him economically akedele took what I say munam what is fearlessness? The fearlessness when a president fears that he will lose his position and then because of that fear he does certain things or fears that he will lose his economic power, then he is not going according to without fear or favor. So when we say Mr. President without fear or favor, we are not talking about fear of gun or knife or bombs. No. Fear of losing your position should not make you do certain decisions. Fear of losing your economic power should not make you lose your certain decision. And more men ka fo konte man sila kidonya man sila nko iman sila kidonya ba ila jivo sila tawnyal.
Okay, so saying, and now moving on to Fonkola Fanan coalition takla bearing election just around the corner. Lung kuma kan wal siata diamo bo siane sentence since the election period lokon no saying coming ngami fondo coalition wala karola comme UDP ko fole ka foko pro party dole na joining kan bearing mobile it is undoubtedly that United Democratic Party ateleng opposition ko natelen the biggest party de ndo yo mol ko mandi kanane pour na join kam bari comme la party leader ito pousse la aside so saying ite muna jowto fanando anin iba mina fola oda party se min yalo ko be lori fay
yalo nyinko adi amo siat ano abedula
abedula
because Nico coalition Momorundiet right sotole ila opinion.
Exactly.
Those are for noko ntelaftale me alonko wole jangayata contestants beti wekat. Those are for ntelafta many yata more beti wekat. So those are for them left to our kind of. But ntolko ngame understand from the UDP party leader's speech. Nko, let this thing be based on something me alonko is scientific and provable. So Nico scientific and provable, let it be based on numbers. Because numbers are scientific and they are provable. Who has the highest number of votes in 2021? Okay, if you say that's past, then let's come to the present. At the moment, if you conduct a poll among the opposition, who has the highest support? Okay, if you say, I don't believe in polls, okay, fine. Number two. Number three, who has the highest number of elected representatives to prove their electoral worth at the moment? Councillors, parliamentarians, chairmen, mayors, who has the highest number? Okay? If you say that is not possible, then what about the primary? So yalong coalition diamo fa more confused about primary diamo niko primary saying the real primary, nobody is talking about that.
Okay.
What people are just talking about a symbolistic primary. Because the real primary wolam nyintiko niko government is 500,000 people supporters and the opposition is 500,000 supporters. The new 500,000 supporters ninga case all on the tema ngajibe opposition kono jumala ba gagner. Of course, UDP has more supporters. That's also a fact. UDP has been, now another fact, UDP has been campaigning from 2021 up to date more than any other opposition. So say, all the scientific facts, last election, number of elected representatives, the pools, right, the existing situation in campaign, the funding, the amount of time, and even if you count the mileage of the cars and the number of cars that travel, right, for the parties, the UDP has all the numbers on its side. So we said, I think the party leader said, if the numbers are on our side, and everybody is aware of it, if there was going to be a coalition talk, maybe Nimma numbers will understand. Yalo Nintolbe company negotiate on this company should buy this other company, or companies should merger. Like in accounting, we have what they call merger of companies, right? Eco TV mergering with, for example, iAfrica. When you give it to us assignment as accountants, everything must be based on numbers first. Your viewers, your revenues, your staff, your equipment, the value, everything will be scientific based on numbers first. Then we will look at the relative size of Eco TV and iAfrica. Then we said merger. If you merger them, the owners of Eco will get 40%, the owners of iAfrica will get 60% in one company because of the value of the two companies. A purely scientific process. But if you say merger, I told not the Eco Alcavo controller reporter ni atala reporter and you don't have the views and you don't have the subscribers like, you don't have the revenue. You think that merger negotiation will continue? It will break down. So come with a scientific criteria. I think UDP coming from Molia. This is how we do it in business. This is how they do it in engineering. This is how they do it in every scientific field. In politics, what's the difference? Those who study political science, ask them. What other criteria you want to commit? Is that the criteria? Or because things like candidate qualification, the whole can you cancel them? You know, we know what is there already. That is not a problem for UDP. So bureaucracy, infrastructure you have, who can do more in a campaign? You cannot do more than UDP because they are in every constituency. Every constituency they have a structure and they have party members. Niko Kir, all party, all bela $10 paso me kajo. Itala party with, some of them they just registered. Some are not even registered. They are talking about coalition. Just like Rohi can go and start and say, form a political party, the People's Ture Party, and then you start asking for coalition.
And
there are
Davos here will follow me.
The Davos will follow. That couldn't call Sise couldn't call me.
Yes.
But tomorrow Taraja is here. But you don't remember caring fang. Ko remember caring wolom ko. Itenata iteko. You want coalition? There are 1,800 villages in Gambia. 1,800 villages. Itaman campaign okay, even 20 villages fang. Iteko ibita coalition negotiation. Come on. Alpha why? Violent lolo why?
Man, alubula.
What it rohing? That's not scientific. That's emotional and tricky. So I think Ngameng read from the UDP leadership, right? And from the UDP party leader is that they are ready for coalition.
Okay.
But they want everybody to recognize what is a fact. And if that is recognized, now they want them to be the fact to be the criteria, the size, and then the numbers.
Yeah.
The other parties who don't want that to be criteria, let them bring their criteria. But you just reject my criteria. You don't bring your counterfeit criteria. Are you ready for negotiation? Bring your criteria on the table. And some of the people, I tell them, for example, I tell some of my brother in Nyamina, Omar Sise, who is with GDC. Last time, you know, it's just a conversation, brotherly conversation. Me and him contested the seat in Nyamina, and we both got about similar number of votes, 2,000 or something. And me for PDOIS, Omar for GDC, right? He got 2,000 votes. The UDP candidate got about 1,000 or some plus votes. And then, so when you combine our votes, it's far more double the NPP candidates. The votes that I got for PDOIS in Nyamina, and what GDC got, and what UDP got, and what the independent candidates got, when you add it, it doubles, more than double the NPP candidate votes. So when we form a coalition, it's not just about the presidential. When we come to the parliamentary, now if we said let GDC contest Nyamina, they lost the seat. They won it in 2017. They lost it in 2021. They can win it back again in 2026. But on condition that the GDC and the UDP, right, are in an alliance, tactical or whatever alliance you call it, from presidential to parliamentary, so that they can leave it for the GDC, for example, or for another party, or for PDOIs, whatever. But what I am trying to say is, before that can happen, the presidential coalition must be there. Because if we don't have an agreement during the presidential, how can we have an agreement a few months later for the parliamentary? It will not work. So it means that if you are an opposition, nobody is a small party. I don't want to call anybody small party. But if you are GDC or PDOIS or another party, and then you want to have seats in the parliament, so your negotiation must consider that after the presidential, there is parliament. Some of these parties will die if they don't have elected representatives, because they will not be heard. And how can you be spending money? You are not heard. So you are not represented in parliament, you are not represented in council. You will fade away. After some time, your people will be tired. Your supporters, will be guided tas. Because they work and they work, they see no results, they will go away. You see some of the parties that were here, this is why they are decreasing in number. So when we have a coalition, and coalition on at the presidential, whatever happens, Allah knows. But we know that we will win when we have a coalition, right? Now, when we win, you will come back to parliament, you will go back to the National Assembly. So from a party with 0 MPs, if it is going to have 6 other MPs, and 1 chairman or 2, or then other councillors, I mean, isn't that good? But GDC has lost Kuntauro, lost Nyamina seat, lost other seats. They have to come back and get it. But that negotiation should not be only about presidential. So that's why we said there is room for every party. There is room for any party that doesn't have the numbers. But it must be a comprehensive negotiation, and it must be a scientific process. What I describe here in Nyamina is science. If I get 2,000, Omar, GDC, if PDIs get 2,000, Omar get 2,000, and other parties get 1,000, and NPP only get 3,000, scientifically, if we join, they will be defeated. And there are many other constituencies like that, in Nyamina, in Wuli, in URR, in North Bank. If we come together, the coalition will wipe out. But not everybody can be president. I was a presidential candidate. I can still go and stand there and do my thing. In fact, I have more people than some political parties because I work for it. I worked for 300 days in 2021. Meetings, 300 meetings. Some of them haven't even done 20 meetings and they want to go for coalition. And when I worked for 300 days, I didn't negotiate anything. I just went to Doi. I did never even meet Halifa personally. I never met Sidia personally. Do I need to call for negotiation? I endorse them. Okay. Because I tell you at the beginning of this meeting, I don't like to see life pass me by without taking action. So I took action. I endorsed. What's the problem? I can do like other candidates, sit at home. I endorse, I spend my money, I campaign. When I was a presidential campaign aspirant, and I should have been sitting in my corner angry and sulking like when they take somebody's wife or somebody's husband. I'm not a sulker. I am an action man. So what I'm trying to tell the political parties is that we have to respect each other. We have to recognize each other. All right? That's fine. And we have differences. But if we come to negotiate, let us know that nothing can beat science. No argument can beat scientific data.
Okay, saying time of Valentine jam fa ngaji kim bamura nan ko tanke ngana nyin kachala ba.
Inshallah.
Just time wala jam fa doron say see la final kumo for mole jandimbita.
Yeah, I mean, I'm thanking you and thanking nice interview. You are very calm, so you made me calm, right? So that's good. Yeah, people like me, we need somebody calm, isn't it? In order for us to have a good interview. So I enjoyed it, and thank you to our listeners. I want the Gambians to understand the seriousness of the 2026 December elections, because the national economy is at stake, the dollar is at stake, our livelihoods are at stake, our children are going to background, do the back way, they are dying in their numbers. Barrow is not bringing electricity from his pocket. It's an ECOWAS financing that was started by Jawara, continued by Jammeh, and then the final implementation is financed by the World Bank. What we want Barrow to account for is the $30 billion that he is collecting from taxes every year. He needs to tell us, what did he use that for apart from daily depends? That is the question for 2026. And I think UDP has the solution. The Usainu Dabo has the pedigree. Nobody, I've never seen him being implicated. I'm an auditor in any corruption case. And I never people like us would have known it and we would never have hide it. He has not been implicated in any corruption scandal. And he had so many opportunities, even as foreign minister, not to talk about vice president, to put his name on the vouchers and do things. We know this country, how people can do that. I think we have a leader who is contented, ready to serve for only one term, and that's practical, and pave the way for a better democracy. If we don't end the self-entrenchment, with Barrow, without fear or favor, he has broken his oath. He has broken his oath when he feared to lose his position by making decisions. He has broken his oath when he gives 50 million and discriminates, favoring some people over the others. Amekali al-Qur'an la kafoko mtengan kali kombe NPP le defend. No, he swear to defend the Gambia. So anything he does which is against that, he's not defending the country. So it's very important, right, for Gambians to know, Mantara Diam Kensena, we are not into politics to serve anybody, but it is important for us to come together and remove Barrow in 2026. Okay,
thank you very much. But still, before we leave, I know tomorrow, inshallah, is our Independence Day.
Yes.
What do you have for the people?
Oh, happy independence. I always celebrate it quietly in my quiet moment at home and with my family. And I am wishing everybody happy independence. This is 2026, right? I'm 61 years. 61 years. Wow, that is a very, very old country. Singapore, which got independence in 1965, is now a first world country, and it was poorer than Gambia in 1965. We cannot be patient with mediocrity. We cannot be patient with rampant corruption. The Gambians must rise up and take over our country. That's my independent message.
Okay. Thank you very much for joining us today. It's a pleasure for having you with us today. And also for the viewers today, our incredible and honorable is Mr. Mamadi Kurang that has joined us today for this lively conversation. Inshallah, we will have him again because time just doesn't allow us. And please try and follow us on Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube. Sponsors are also invited. Still, your favorite, Rohia Duture. Thank you very much.